All right, hi everybody. So we are now in week 7 of HCAS143. So one thing that I do want to reinforce very quickly when I start discussing here is that when week 7 starts, the course will end on the following Monday. So you have 8 days until the course ends from the time week 7 starts. This is very important because we do have a bit of overlap between week 7 and week 7.5. Week 7.5 will start on Friday of week 7, and it will run until the end of Monday when the course ends. Week 7 ends as normal on Saturday, okay? So keep these ideas in mind, and it's going to help you plan. Now, the nice thing is, as you will see in a moment, I will briefly mention what's due in week 7.5 as well to help you plan, even though you do have these tracking calendars. I'll mention it anyway, but you will see there's no new content in week 7.5, okay? So there's no reading, there's nothing crazy, but we'll get to that in a moment. So you'll have your chapters reading for this week. We're talking about gastrointestinal and psychiatric systems. A lot of people think, well, why are those put together? It's actually very interesting and something that I post about in the discussion. So go take a look at that discussion post I make discussing the link between the GI and psych systems. They've traditionally just been kind of lumped together as sort of the redheaded stepsisters, you could say, of body systems, or I guess psychiatric systems is really just the nervous system, but in a different way, you know. But they're actually a lot more linked than previously thought, and there's a lot of amazing research coming out on this. But go look at that post to see more information. We have our discussion for this week. Again, since week 7 is a full week, you have the normal discussion requirements. So make your 2 disease picks, one for GI, one for psych. Discuss the symptoms, treatments, etc. And then we have our human disease and pharmacology comprehensive exam that I mentioned all the way back. This is functionally summative assessment for part 1, if you think about it. This is a comprehensive exam, so that means that it will be cumulative for the entire course. You will get asked questions from any chapter within the course. So, as you'll see here, 22 multiple choice and matching questions, and you have 1 attempt to complete. So take your time. You have the whole week, and that's functionally, you know, we're looking at the list right here. You know, there's more lecture documents and guided notes documents than there are assignments for week 7. So that's good, right? Especially since we have week 7.5 that overlaps. So let me pull back up this really briefly. There's just 2 things to complete. We have the week 7.5 discussion. Since week 7.5 is a short week, just like our very first week of the course, you just need to make your initial post and you'll get a 100. Okay? You don't have to do replies. You don't have to do anything like that, but I do still encourage everyone to have some replies, discussion, you know, things like that. There's no new content for week 7.5 though. And then summative assessment number 4, which will be submitted through the portfolio system core, that follows the same directions that you should be very familiar with for uploading assignments in this class. But just like in the past, you know, you'll open up core with that link that I just clicked. But in order to get the directions, you'll have to click the thing that explicitly states it's for directions. It's just, you know, I guess you could say little nuance of how Blackboard and Core interact together. We have to put the directions separately. You download the directions. There's also directions in here for how to upload into Core as well. That has not changed. Also, as a reminder, you should have received emails about your student surveys starting in week 6 up to this point. They should remain active until the end of the course. So at any point from week 6 through the end of the course, you're able to use the links that get sent to you by I think it's the dean of students. It might be. I can't quite remember right now off the top of my head whose account that's coming from now. Since they're no longer in core to do those feedbacks, it comes from a different platform now. So make sure you complete those before the end of the course as well. They shouldn't take very long for you. And we're always looking for feedback on the way the course flows and things like that, especially HCAS143. I like to tell students this, but I've been pushing to really, really getting this course reworked. I think there's a lot of things that need to change for it. And the more students that share, challenges that they have with it, legitimate challenges, not just, saying, oh, the class was difficult, et cetera, but legitimate challenges about, how the textbooks are, I've heard a lot of that from students about how the textbooks can be difficult to use, especially since the publisher will only provide physical textbooks for this course, things like that. Some students prefer physical textbooks. I sure know I do. But for a course like this, where information's heavy and dense, sometimes having that electronic version to help you, Control F and find your key term in a chapter or something can be very, very helpful, especially when you're studying or you're looking back through your textbook while you're taking a quiz or something like that. So, we're always looking for that sort of feedback, and the college is also looking for feedback on how your instructors are, things like that. And ultimately, us as your instructors, we're also looking for feedback on things that we can do outside of the actual structure of the course to better assist you guys in learning. Because Bryan Stratton College, no matter where you take one of these classes, whether it's online or it's at the Virginia Beach campus or the Buffalo campus or the Syracuse campus, we teach the same course. We use a one-course structure, and there's a team that designs the course. Your individual instructor doesn't change anything structurally within the course. So, no matter where you are, you're taking the same course and meeting the same expectations. And so, when you're giving feedback to us as your instructors, we love to hear things about things that we can do at an individual level to assist you in learning, to the best of your ability with, the constraints that we have as instructors for that whole one course approach to the class, right? So that's everything I have for week 7 and a brief overview of 7.5. And if you have any questions, again, please do not hesitate to let me know. We're quickly coming to the end of courses as well. So if you're missing any assignments, please get those in before the course ends, okay?